Welcome to Do Different Better. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. This is where we talk about wealth wisdom and money moves, making finance simple for everyday people. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen, and founder and CEO of Social Impact Now, Connective Institute, and general partner of the Integrated Capital Fund. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of money. We're going to be diving into a topic that's often overlooked, but incredibly powerful in shaping your financial future. It's our money mindset. We'll explore how to identify your conscious and unconscious money tapes, align your values, and set goals to build a healthier relationship with money. Let's get started. In this first segment, we're going to explore how to identify your conscious and unconscious money tapes. These are the beliefs and attitudes about money that guide your financial decisions, often without you even realizing it. Our money mindset is essentially the way we think and feel about money, especially how we feel in our body and our heart. It includes both conscious beliefs, those that we are aware of, and unconscious tapes. These are deep-seated beliefs that operate below our conscious awareness. Understanding both is crucial for building a healthier relationship with money. So let's get started. Defining conscious and unconscious money tapes. Conscious money tapes are the beliefs and attitudes about money that we kind of know, we know where they come from. These are maybe decisions or choices that we've made about how we're going to intersect with money. They might include thoughts like, I need to save more. Investing is important. I want to own real estate. We can easily identify those because we think about them actively. They're choices. We may tell other people about them. On the other hand, unconscious money tapes are a little bit more tricky. These are these deep, deep beliefs that are formed early in our lives, often in childhood, that we may not be aware of, but that significantly influence our financial behavior. For example, an unconscious money tape might be, money is the root of all evil. How many of you have heard that? I grew up Roman Catholic. That I cannot tell you how many times, and going to Catholic school for 10 years, I can't tell you how many times I heard that. Or I'll never have enough money, or there isn't enough money. These beliefs can sabotage your financial health without you even realizing it. Here's a fun fact. Studies show that our financial behaviors and attitudes are often established by age 7. That means many of the money messages you receive as children are still influencing you today, whether you know it or you don't. So, how do we identify these money tapes? One effective method is to reflect on your childhood experiences with money. Think back to your earliest money memories. Ask yourself questions like, what is my first memory of money? And what messages did my parents or caregivers send me about money? What were their words? What were their actions? I shared in the first episode my money memories with you in the first episode. Take a listen if you're interested. But to make a long story short, I grew up with a lot of conflicting money messages. My mom was very frugal. She had a much scarcity mindset. She worked really hard. She worked multiple jobs, putting my brother and myself through private school. She was really thoughtful about keeping things until the wheels fell off. We were not allowed to get new clothes. If I wanted new clothes, like I had to work for them and I had to get new clothes. There were even certain groceries that she would not buy. My mom was a vegetarian going back to the 70s. And so if I grew up never having cold cereal, we were not allowed. If I wanted to have cold cereal, I had to buy it with my own money. And she would tell me that. Now, on the other hand, my grandmother, who was a live-in nurse, believed money was something to be enjoyed. She thought it was, I work, I should spend this money to make me feel good and do the things that I want to do. Then there was my Colombian babysitter, who was a stay-at-home mom turned child care provider, who never really had a job, a payroll job, but she did have 7 kids who she looked after vigilantly. As you hear my money story, not all money tapes are positive. For example, if you grew up in a household where money was a constant source of stress and conflict, you might have an unconscious tape that associates money with anxiety. I have a couple of friends like that. One of my friends has shared with me, hey, growing up in my house, divorce and bankruptcy were words that were thrown around with impunity, like just regularly. So they have a lot of financial insecurity, even though they make six-figure salaries. They have never wanted for money. They've always done well. They always lived in a home. They've always had what they needed, but they still have some very serious financial insecurities with just regular everyday life stuff like, hey, the refrigerator broke down. We need to buy another refrigerator. So, but these kinds of behaviors can lead to avoiding financial planning and feeling paralyzed by very important financial decisions. So let's take a moment to do a quick exercise. Grab a pen and paper and write down your earliest memory of money. Next, I want you to jot down any messages that you can remember receiving about money from your parents, your teachers, or other influential people in your life. I hope that this can maybe start to bring up some of those unconscious tapes to the surface. I do this as an activity, and we'll be posting on the website some dates where if you're looking to do this in community or do this one-on-one, there's going to be an opportunity to work with me to do that. But it is a powerful, powerful thing. And every time I walk through this exercise with people, they're often shocked and amazed about those experiences still influence them today, and they had no idea. But here's another example. One listener shared with me that her parents used to say, money doesn't grow on trees, whenever she asked for something. This became an unconscious tape that led her to believe that money was always scarce, which made her hesitant to spend or invest money, even when it was financially wise to do so. So, these are two questions. Your first memory of money and the messages that you received are great to ask when you're dating someone, if you're already in a relationship, or even to talk about with your kids. If you can listen without judgment, not only to what you are saying, but what they are saying, you might have some very insightful conversations that may even influence your thinking and behaviors going forward. My wish for you is that it creates some understanding and possibly builds a bridge to common ground with the people closest to you and how you can have better conversations about money. Now, let us start to talk about how we can change some of these tapes, because it is a choice, right? Awareness is the first step. And once you've identified a negative money tape, that I want you to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Look for evidence to the contrary. For instance, if you have a tape that says, I'll never be good with money, remind yourself when you made a sound financial decision, no matter how small. And that could be something as, you know what? I saw those shoes in the window. I really wanted them, but I didn't buy them because I knew that there was going to be an impact on that. Or I knew that I didn't have the money to pay for it at that time. Or I really had already made the decision that I wanted to pay down my credit card. So instead of buying that pair of shoes, I decided not to buy those shoes because paying down my credit card was important to me, right? That could be an example of replacing a negative tape, money tape, I'll never be good with money, and just reminding yourself you do make good decisions and build a new neural pathway around that tape. But it's also helpful to replace negative tapes with positive affirmations. If you identify that money is the root of all evil, and that's a tape that you've been playing, try replacing it with money is a tool that can be used for good, right? Some of these things, actually, many of them are choices of how we think about ourselves and how we think about the world around us, and we can change how we think about them. Repeating these positive statements can help rewire your brain, going back to these neural pathways, to adopt healthier financial beliefs that actually work for you, not against you. So, with all of that, I have a call to action for you. What I'd like you to do is, over the next 7 days, take some time to reflect on your money memories. Maybe Sunday morning while you're sitting there drinking your tea or your coffee, maybe write down on a piece of paper, and I definitely recommend writing this down. It just becomes a little bit more real when you write down what is coming up for you. And just start with these questions that I offer to you. What's my first memory of money? When did I first realize that money had influence, right? That's another powerful one. Because sometimes your money story of your first memory of money and when you learn that it had influence may not be the same story. And once again, I think you might find some things that will bubble up. What I want you to do after that, once you've done that, is share your findings with a trusted friend or family member and discuss how those tapes have influenced your financial decisions. I really want to encourage you to not have any shame around this. And that's why it's really important for you to have this conversation with somebody you trust. And quite frankly, it may be somebody who's not in your family because they might have some of the same tapes. So it might be helpful if a friend who maybe doesn't know your financial story, may not know anything about your financial history, or may not know you very well, but you trust them, or at least know that history of you very well. But if you feel like it's a family member, you have a sibling that you can tell anything to, and you know that they're always going to meet you with love and positivity, absolutely talk to a sibling or a parent or a cousin or an uncle or an aunt or a mentor about this. It really helps to get it outside of your head, right? This can be a powerful step in transforming your relationship with money. Just the exercise of writing this down and then having to say it out loud starts to already deconstruct the tapes that you're playing in your head. There's something psychological that happens. There's a trigger that happens of once you get it out, it's not living in a dark room inside of your head. It's kind of like I talk to my kids about this of you can walk into a room in the dark and bump into a whole bunch of furniture. And that's what's happening to you now as you navigate the world and have these tapes playing. You don't even know that they're those are the furniture that you're bumping into this dark room. This exercise of writing down what you've heard and what your experience has been and what you've learned or what you've been told, and then sharing it with somebody is really this act of turning on the lights. We're not trying to move the furniture, at least not yet. But now we know where the furniture is, so we can stop bumping into the furniture. So that's it for this segment on identifying your money mindset and uncovering those unconscious tapes. Stay with us. Up next, we'll explore how to align your financial decisions with your personal goals to create a more fulfilling financial life. Remember, understanding your money mindset is the first step to doing different better. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next segment. Welcome back to Do Different Better. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And today we are diving into our money tape and aligning our values with our money. This is a crucial step in building a healthy relationship with your finances. In this segment, we'll discuss the importance of values in financial decisions, how you can identify your core values, and some practical tips on aligning your spending with your values. So let's get started. Our values play a significant role in how we manage our money. They influence our spending, our savings, our investing behaviors, often in ways that we don't immediately recognize. It even impacts how we talk to our children or our loved ones about the conversations and financial decisions. When your financial decisions reflect your values, you're far more likely to feel satisfied and content with your financial well-being. I'll share a personal story. A few years ago, I realized that a significant portion of my spending didn't align with my personal core values. I valued sustainability and supporting local businesses, yet I found myself frequently shopping at large chain stores because they were really convenient. This realization was a wake-up call. I decided to make a conscious effort to spend more at farmers markets and local shops and local businesses, even if it meant I needed to put more effort into planning and locating these folks, but rearranging my schedule so that I can shop at those places and rearranging my route and where I was driving to so that I can make sure that I hit those places, right? The change not only supported my values, but also it brought a deeper sense of satisfaction to my spending. I felt good about spending my money with these folks. I didn't feel like, oh, that was so expensive. I was like, hey, this person's in my community. How great is it that I'm supporting my community, right? I'm supporting another local business or farmer or grower. Studies have shown that people who align their spending with their values report higher satisfaction rate with their finances. This makes sense because when you spend in a way that supports what you truly care about, your money is working to enhance your overall life and satisfaction. But how do we get there, right? Well, let's talk about identifying personal values. This is an essential step because you need to know where you stand before you can align your finances with your values. Here are going to be a few exercises that can help pinpoint your core values. First, take some time to reflect on what matters to you. Think about the moments in your life when you truly felt happy and fulfilled. What were you doing? Who were you with? What values were being honored in those moments? Maybe you volunteer for a youth organization. Maybe you went on a hiking trip in the Appalachian Trails. Maybe you went to see you went to Africa and went on a safari. Maybe you have gone to an indigenous community and had an influential and powerful experience. These are all the things where you can start to think about what's important to me. How do I want to perpetuate that experience in my life? Is it that, and sometimes you can get a clue from your philanthropy. If you engage in philanthropy, what are the values that you hold in your philanthropy? Those values can be transferred over to your investing. Now it's going to look very different, but you don't have to separate the two. They can be in alignment. And the more you have your life in alignment, as I said before, the more satisfied you're going to feel. And here's another exercise that you can consider about when you think about the causes that you care about. Do you feel passionate about environmental sustainability or education or social justice? These causes can give you clues to your core values. Actually, many of these kinds of organizations will have their core values on their website. So if you kind of need a little jump start because you're like, Elaine, I'm not getting this whole touchy-feely thing about core values. Look at the core values that those organizations have, the organizations that are important to you, the organizations that you value. Many of them will have their core values on their website, and they'll even have an explanation of how they operationalize those core values. Take some cues for that and know that just because you set a set of core values today doesn't mean that that's going to be your core values forever. I always encourage folks to review these core values, maybe once a year, maybe once every couple of years. Do they still resonate? Because as you evolve and change in your life, your core values might change. The things that are important to you change. A couple of years ago, a good friend of mine was diagnosed with throat cancer. Cancer had never touched my life before. And now it was this pervasive thing. I had a significant person in my life have to go through radiation therapy, and I was with them through all of that. And so now cancer is something that's really, really important to me. So when I think about where there are opportunities to invest, I might want to invest in a company that has some sort of technology that supports either cancer research or cancer wellness, right? But that's because there was a shift in my life. So while that may not have been something important to me before 2021, it certainly is something that's important to me now. So to make this process a little bit easier, I suggest you write them down. You'll hear me say that a lot in my show. There's nothing more powerful than writing something down. It makes it more real. It makes it more tangible. And it kind of allows you to no longer lie to yourself, right? Some common values could include family, supporting women, freedom, love, your faith. But go through this list. I would start with just making it as long as you want, and then start to whittle them down. Where are maybe some values that are similar? And you can start to group them and categorize them. And then this will give you a way to give you some clues about what could be your core values, right? So go through this list, circle the ones that really resonate with you, and see if you can narrow it down to 5. I bet even if you get down to, you're like, Elaine, but I got down to 6 or 7. I bet you might be able to like get it down to 5 if you just like grouped 1 or 2 of them. But if you can't, hey, whatever you come up with, I'd rather you get started than not at all. So start there and then see what happens. As time goes on, you're going to be bringing those core values up, which is another reason why you want to write them down. You can bring these core values up. So whether you're looking at investments or other types of opportunities, you can say, do these reflect my core values? Does this organization reflect my core values? Does this store that I'm shopping in reflect my core values, right? So by having them written down, maybe you put them in your phone in a note, maybe you have a voice memo, however you want to do that, but being able to have access to it also is super, super helpful. Now, once you've identified your personal core values, the next step is to align your spending habits with these values where you can and where it makes sense, right? It's not always, this is not a perfect world. We're not trying to go for perfection. The whole idea is that we are wanting to at least start to have an aligned life, right? And so here are some practical ways that you can help you do that. So first, you need to review your current spending. Look at your bank or credit card statement from the past couple of months. Look at any expenses that may not align with your values, right? And think about how you can redirect this money towards other things, right? Or other stores or other vendors or other ways, right? So if you see on your credit card statement, hey, I have bought 5 pairs of shoes this month, but my values are I want to retire at 50. Okay, those 2 things may be out of alignment. Now, maybe you needed those 5 pairs of shoes. I don't know. But the whole idea is that you're going through the process of questioning. And you may find, yes, I did need those 5 pair of shoes. I had no work shoes and I needed a whole new wardrobe because all my work shoes were tragic, right? Okay, that's fine, right? Once again, this is not meant to be a punitive process. It's meant to be a thought-provoking process for you to make some decisions and come to have some awareness about what you're doing and not be passively spending money without really thinking about what's happening. So here's another example. If one of your core values is sustainability, consider investing in a sustainable business or choosing products that are environmentally friendly. If you're supporting local enterprises, if supporting local enterprises is important to you, make a habit of shopping at local stores or farmers markets instead of the huge chains. Remember that you may have to pay a little bit more for these products or services because they're not buying in bulk to resell. They are paying decent wages. They are local. There you can see them, you can touch them. Their products might be handmade. Maybe you get better customer service or lots of other good reasons. But no, they're not going to be the same price as a big box store. They're not going to be the same price as a chain store. But it's because of all the reasons and more that I've just named. So you're making a conscious decision. But I will tell you what, when you shop at a local store, when you shop at a local vendor, that money stays and circulates within the community, right? So that might be your motivation. I want the dollars that I spend, as much as the dollars that I spend, to stay inside of my community. Another tip is to set values-based financial goals. So for instance, if philanthropy is one of your core values, you might set a goal to donate a certain percentage of your income to causes you care about. If family is a top value, you could prioritize saving for a family vacation or activities that create lasting memories, right? One of the things that's been important to me is with my family is taking time, not necessarily to travel, but if we're able to travel, we do that. And quite frankly, within reason, I don't care what it costs. I don't care that I have to, because I can't get that time back. The memories, one of the things that I like to say to people is when you're on your deathbed, I don't know that anybody has said, I wish I'd worked more, right? Most people will say something like, I wish I spent more time with my family, or I wish I spent more time with my partner. Well, let's not wait till our deathbed. Let's do that now, right? So let's create and make financial decisions that allow us to do that now, right? Even if that means, hey, it's a staycation. We're going to camp in the backyard. whatever it's going to be. You can make these moments if that's what's important to you. So let me give you some other examples of values-based financial decisions. One listener shared that they started investing in companies with a strong environmental practices because sustainability was a key value for them. Another listener shared that they value community and local support. So they began volunteering and also started a small investment club to invest in local startups through a crowdfunding platform. So all of these are things that you can activate, that you can do, and the options are limitless. But my encouragement to you is to just start, right? I don't want you to go and make $100,000 investment tomorrow. What is it? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And that's what I'm asking you to do at this time. Let's just take the first step. And so here is my call to action for you. I want to encourage you to take a moment right now. Take out a piece of pen. I know you're sitting in your chair. Maybe you're sitting in the parking lot, listening to this in your car, or take a note of the episode and come back and listen to it when you've got some time. But take a moment right now and just right off the top of your head, list 5 values that they don't have to be perfect, but just list 5 values that you think are important to you, right? Then for the next week, evaluate your spending and see if your spending aligns with those values. I want you to look at the stores that you shop in, how far you're driving, how much you're driving, if environmental is important to you. How are you spending your day? Or if environment is important to you, are you leaving the lights on all day in every part of your house if you work from home, right? So for, writing down what are your top 5 values, just right off the rip. Then for the next 7 days, start bringing those values up. Put it as a note in your phone. So every time you spend some money, open that note and say, does this align with my values, right? Once again, this isn't meant to be perfect. This isn't meant for you to go into a psychotic break, right? This is really for you to start noticing. That's the point of this exercise. And then if you feel the spirit moves you, then after a week, make a plan to adjust your spending. And adjusting your spending so where it's necessary to reflect those values. Or you might find after a week, these aren't really the values. Maybe 2 of these are values that I want to keep, but these other ones, they're not as important to me. So you can change them, and you can start doing this exercise every week until you start to get to like, oh, okay, I've landed on the core values that I want to practice, right? You'll start through experimentation. You're going to be like, oh, okay, maybe it's going to take you a couple of months. Maybe it's going to take you 3 months. Maybe it's going to take you 6 months for you to kind of distill down. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Once you get down to that distilled version of what those values are you want to practice, then I want you to start thinking about the next piece of this, right? Okay. So that's it for this segment on aligning your values with your money. By ensuring that your financial decisions reflect your core values, you can create a more fulfilling and satisfying financial life. Stay with us as up next, we explore setting financial goals based on your values to create a roadmap for your financial journey. Remember, aligning your money with your values is a powerful step towards doing different better. See you in the next segment. Welcome back to Do Different Better. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And in this segment, we're going to dive into setting financial goals based on your values. So today we've talked about identifying your money mindset and aligning your spending with your values. Now it's time to create a roadmap of your financial future by setting clear, actionable goals. So let's get started. So you may have done goal setting for work. You may have done goal setting for you're running a marathon. You may have done workout goal setting. Well, this is not much different than that. Setting financial goals is crucial for both your financial success and, quite frankly, your mental well-being. Goals give you clear direction and purpose and help you stay focused and motivated. But it also gives you a checkpoint of like, is this goal still meaningful and relevant? Right? Because if you're not tracking to a goal, maybe it's no longer relevant to you. And maybe you need to change the goal. Or maybe you made the goal too big, or you made the goal too small. You achieved the goal far faster than you wanted to. Well, that's great. But now you have a lever to say, oh, I grossly underestimated how I was going to achieve that goal because I surpassed it. Isn't that like an amazing thing? I love when that happens. But without goals, it can be easy to drift and make decisions that don't support your long-term financial health or well-being. Moreover, having financial goals can reduce stress and anxiety. When you know where you're headed and have a plan to get there, you're more likely to feel in control of your finances, which can then improve your mental health, right? I know when I didn't even realize what state of stress I was living in when I was living paycheck to paycheck. And once again, this advice is not to, and the conversations we have are not meant to like say that it's not stressful living to paycheck, right? The whole idea is if you sort of have a plan, then you can start to think about this is temporary, right? And that relief of in and of itself can help you rearrange and realign not only your relationship with money, but your relationship with everything, because everything is not stressing you out because you're like, I have a plan to move into a different direction. I have a plan to manage my life knowing that these are my circumstances, right? And I have a plan to move to the next level, whether it be my goal is to move to a less expensive city, my goal is to get a promotion, which will bring more income, whatever those choices are, right? By having a plan and working a plan can help you start to see and think and have more confidence in how you're moving financially and knowing that you're building and working towards some financial security and whatever that looks like for you. Once again, if you want to move to the middle of Timbuktu and live in a Sprinter van, great. If you want to live on an island in Bora Bora, great. If you want to have multiple investment properties across 3 different states, those are all amazing things. So let's try to put the things in place that will help get us there. So the first thing is really thinking about a framework to establish these goals. So one effective way to ever worked in corporate America, I am sure you've heard the term SMART goals. And each letter of the word SMART, S-M-A-R-T, stands for a different word. And what are the components you take into consideration in creating a goal? And having all of these components make your goal optimally reachable, right? Or gives it a great perspective that contributes to success, right? So each letter stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So let's break this down. The S is for specific. It means that your goals should be clear and very specific. So, one abstract goal is like, I want to end world hunger. Okay, that's a very big goal, right? Is that even attainable? I don't know, right? Here's another example, just to keep it in line with our conversation. Instead of saying, I want to save money, right? Say, I want to save $5,000 for a family vacation, right? Those are 2 different things. You're still saying that you want to save money, but one of these is actually more specific. So I'll say it again. An unclear goal is, I want to save money, right? I want to have enough money in my bank account. Okay, well, what does that mean? How much money, by when, what is comfortable? All of these things, there's still question marks, right? As opposed to you being declarative and saying, I want to save $5,000 for a family vacation. Now you can start to take, okay, if I want to do $5,000, now it brings up another set of questions, right? The second letter in SMART is M, and M stands for measurable. Measurable means that you have the ability to track your progress. So this could mean setting milestones or using financial tools to monitor your savings or whatever mechanism that you are using as far as this financial goal. So taking our family vacation specific SMART goal, or our specific goal, I want to save $5,000 for a family vacation. Okay, let's start to think about how much money can we save every month? Well, looking at our budget or looking at my individual budget, I can save $50 per paycheck, which is $100 a month, which means that if I can save $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. It's going to take me 3 years to save up enough money for this family vacation, right? That's the kind of the thought process you want to start going through of like, oh, when you start to get clear about the goal, now you can start to get clear about what is it going to take to get you there, right? The next letter in the SMART goal is A. A stands for achievable, meaning that set a realistic goal that you can actually reach, right? Consider your current financial situation and what can you feasibly achieve. So let's go back to our family vacation goal. You could have said, I want to save $50,000 for a family vacation. But if you're working at a job that maybe pays you $15 to $20 an hour, is it realistic in the next millennia that you'll be able to save up $50,000? Maybe you can if you just ate vegetables, you never went out, you never drove anywhere. Maybe you could do that, right? But once again, that might be not the greatest existence, right? That might impact your mental health, or maybe that's fun for you. I don't know, right? But by what's actually achievable, or when I talked about earlier, hey, you could say, I'm going to save $200 a paycheck. Well, if there isn't $200 left over in your paycheck, then let's not say you're going to save $200, right? If it's realistic that it's $25, then let it be $25. In the first episode, I talked about when I first started saving, and I started saving 10 times a week. I was working, I think at the time, this was maybe 30 years ago, I was making, I think, 13, 14 bucks an hour. So that's what I could save a week, was $10 a week. But then that $10 turned into $20, and $20 turned into $30, and $30 turned into $50, and on and on and on, right? So it's okay that you may be starting from what might be a modest position. The whole idea is that you're going to grow that. That's the whole point of doing different better, right? Our next letter is R in SMART goal. R stands for relevant. Relevant means your goals should matter to you and align with your goals. If family time is a core value, saving for a family vacation is relevant. If you want more me time because you're never alone because you've got 4 or 5 kids and you never seem to have any alone time, well, do you really want a family vacation? Maybe you want a self vacation, a mom or dad vacation, right? So what is relevant? Because here's the thing. If a goal isn't relevant, you're far less likely to achieve that goal, right? And once again, there's data on all of this to support this. We as humans, if we don't find relevance in something, we tend to discard it, right? Whether it's passively, directly, or indirectly, right? We will not give it value. And so if we don't give it value, then we won't do it, right? So that is why your goal needs to be relevant and meaningful. And then the last letter is T, which is time bound, right? So set a deadline for your goal. And once again, for all my type A's out there, what I don't want you to take away from this is the rigidity of us, like, I only still, I was planning to save $10 a week every month, but at the end of the month, I only saved $20. Hey, congratulate yourself. That's $20 more than you had the month before when you weren't saving any money. So take the wins. This is all a guide, and you're going to be adjusting this guide along the way. Remember, this is a journey. It is not a destination. So don't get wrapped around the axle around, oh, I set this goal and I only achieved 75%. Well, remember, before you started this process, you didn't have anything, right? So let's enjoy what you were able to accomplish and think about what are the adjustments that need to be made. Does the goal need to be adjusted because you set a goal that was unrealistic and you didn't know at the time that it was unrealistic, right? Or is it, hey, I surpassed that goal. I could because I was scared. So now let me make the goal a little bit bigger, right? So time bound. This creates a sense of urgency and helps you stay motivated. So going back to our family vacation goal, right? So if we wanted to turn our family vacation goal into a fully SMART goal, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? We might be somebody who's making, let's say $25 an hour, right? We're like, okay, I can put away $50 a week, right? Maybe it's a 2-person household. Each person puts in $25, right? So that's $200 a month, right? $200 a month times 12 months is $2,400. So over the course of 2 years, you will be able to save $4,800 to take a family vacation with your family or your partner, right? And you can say, okay, our deadline is 24 months starting this month, right? So we are going to save, or I am going to save, based on this example I just gave you, I am going to save $50 a week, right? A week, or maybe it's per paycheck. Obviously, that would go down by half, but let's just use our example, a week. I'm going to save $50 a week, which is going to be $200 a month over the course of 24 months to raise $5,000 for us to be able to go on a vacation, a family vacation, right? That's how a SMART goal works. And once again, you can start to, if you're making SMART goals for the first time, it's not going to be perfect. It's kind of like a pancake. The first pancake is never beautiful, but it's edible, but it never looks good, right? It's that second pancake that looks beautiful, right? So the first time you're starting to set goals or you're starting to set a budget, it's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little ugly. Give yourself some love, right? Give yourself a hug. It's going to be okay, right? The whole idea is that you're starting, right? You're farther along than most people, right? So here's a fun fact. Did you know that writing down your goal increases your likelihood by achieving that goal by 42%? The simple act of writing down your goals makes it more tangible and helps you stay accountable. Remember, I talked about that a little bit earlier. It's something that I've seen has been powerful and just in my own personal experience. So now that you understand SMART goals as a framework, let's now start to talk about how to create a financial plan that reflects your values and your goals. So here's a few steps to help get you started. First of all, we've probably gone over this many, many times, but it can never be said enough. Identify your values. As we discussed in the previous segments, identify your top 5 values. This will be the foundation of your financial plan, right? And if you have a partner, I definitely encourage you to do this individually and then come together as a couple. And once again, we're going to have workshops to help you work through this in community. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely hit me up on my Instagram channel or my LinkedIn channel, and I'll add you to our mailing list, and we'll get that information out to you when we're holding those retreats. But doing these individually, then taking what you created individually and coming together as a couple or a family and talking about what each of you came up with. And I definitely encourage you to bring kids into this conversation. It's an amazing exercise. It's a life-changing experience that I can't even tell you how beautiful it is. It's not always easy. Sometimes there's tears, but it's an amazing experience just to be able to we're all on the same page now. Or if you're not on the same page, you've now created at least some understanding and some insight into how you show up and how they show up and how that might be creating conflict in your family or your life, right? So remember, number 1, identify your values. These will be the foundation of your plan. Number 2 is we're going to set short-term and long-term goals. So an example of a short-term goal is anything that you can achieve within the next 12 months, right? I'm a big fan of starting small. 12 months, you have line of sight of 12 months. Anytime we get past 12 months, especially the world is changing so fast, it can kind of be I have no idea. I typically tell businesses that I work with, you can't really see more than 3 years into the future. The world is just changing too quickly. So if you can start to think about in one year, start with 1 year, what am I going to accomplish in the next 12 months? Is it, I'm going to reduce this credit card debt by 20%. Okay, great. Right? You're going to save $1,000 for an emergency fund, or you're going to pay off a small credit card debt or medical bill. Whatever that is, it's something that you can accomplish in the next 12 months. Then the long-term goal. These are goals that take more time to achieve. So such as saving for retirement buying a home, starting a charity or some other activity, saving for college, anything that's longer, even that vacation example that we gave of like, hey, that might be a 2 or 3 year horizon. Maybe it's a 4-year horizon because you're working at a job right now that has that brings in a modest income. That's okay. We're going to get you on the path. This is how we're going to get started. Number 3, you're going to align your goals with your values. Make sure your goals reflect your values, right? So if philanthropy is important to you, set a goal to donate a certain percentage of your income to charity. Maybe you know that you get an annual bonus and you want to donate 50% of that bonus to a local charity, or maybe you want to invest it in a local business, or maybe you want to gift it to a local business. I can't tell you how many businesses are looking for capital, and the capital structures right now, particularly with the price of capital, is just not ideal for them. Now, if you do that, you don't get the tax write-off because they are not a charity. However, knowing that you've made that investment into a local business without wanting anything in return, if it's your favorite coffee shop, they will be very appreciative. But just know you should talk to your tax professional to see what the financial implications for you personally might be in doing that kind of gift, because it's not going to be tax deductible. If family is a core value, plan for a family vacation or an activity. Create a budget, outline a budget that supports your goals, track your income and expenses, and allocate funds towards a short-term and long-term goals. And then 5, monitor your progress. Regularly review your financial plan, maybe once at the beginning, maybe every month, maybe then you move to every other month, then maybe you move to once a quarter, then maybe you move to 6 months, and then eventually maybe you move to annually, you're going to check in, because now you've built up a muscle, right? You might even, if you're like me, you've built a dashboard that feeds you all this information and tells you in a very quick snapshot what's going on. But you can start to plan and track your progress and adjust your plan as you need to so you can stay on track or move forward, right? So here's my call to action to you. I want to encourage you to create one short-term and one long-term goal and write it down using the SMART framework. So a couple of more things as we start to wrap up here. Setting goals is just the beginning. So make sure that you're regularly reviewing them. Get some support that you need, whether that's from a financial advisor or joining a support group, that you're going to continue with continuous learning and self-reflection. That's it for this segment on setting financial goals based on your values. By following these steps and tips, you will be well on your way of achieving financial success and mental well-being. We're wrapping up this episode. Remember, aligning your money with your values is setting clear goals that are powerful, and that's a great way for you to start to do different better. Well, that wraps up another episode of Do Different Better. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. We've covered a lot today about understanding and improving your relationship with money, identifying your money tapes, aligning your values, and setting meaningful financial goals. Remember, a healthy money mindset is an ongoing journey, not a destination. Don't miss our next episode where we'll discuss women and wealth, empowering women to seize their financial future. Let me know what you think of the show. We love comments, so tell us how the show helped you. If you have a money or finance question, or if there's someone you want me to interview, hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and engage with us on social media for more tips. Until next time, let's all do different better together. Thanks for tuning in.